Tonight on KVR News,
how the same-sex marriage SCOTUS ruling is affecting the Austin LGBTQ community.
Why the city is imposing stricter rules on popular ride apps such as Uber and Lyft.
And good news, drivers, gas prices are back at an all-time low. But how long will it last?
All this and more coming up on KVR News, Austin's leader for live, local UT coverage.
Broadcasting live from the Texas Student Television Studios at the University of Texas. You're watching KVR News at 9, Austin's leader for live, local UT coverage. Your news starts right now.
Good evening and welcome back to our first episode of KVR News for the fall semester on this Monday, September 17th. I'm Sandy Marin.
And I'm Maribel Santiago. Thank you for joining us.
Since the Syrian civil war, millions of refugees have fled out of their country and overseas to reach safety from their hometowns. Last week, the image of 3-year-old Aylan Kurdi, who died along with his mother and brother trying to come to Greece, has made U.S. headlines.
The growing number of migrating refugees brings America onto the agenda as the country has accepted 1,500 refugees. This number is expected to only double by the end of the year.
Kentucky clerk Kim Davis has appealed the contempt of court ruling from last week. Davis was ordered to jail last Thursday for refusing to issue same-sex marriage licenses and prohibiting her deputies to do so for her. U.S. District Judge David Bunning said Davis will remain behind bars until she complies. Davis's case has reached nationwide attention, including Republican presidential candidates. To name a few, Mike Huckabee, Ted Cruz, Ron Paul. As of now, Davis has no intentions of abiding and is waiting for a compromise instead. After months of long debate, the statue of Confederate President Jefferson Davis was removed from UT's main mall on August 13th and relocated to nearby Briscoe Museum earlier this year. The Davis statue was vandalized on multiple occasions. First-year UT President Greg Fenves created a task force committee to determine possible future actions. The decision was eventually made to remove the statue, along with the nearby Woodrow Wilson statue from symmetrical purposes. The Sons of Confederate Veterans vocally opposed the measure and have since fought to block university efforts. Despite the statue having been removed, the Southern Heritage Group took a state court on Friday and filed a motion, saying the statues need to be put back up.
After Texas racing tracks spent the first day of September in a state of shutdown, an agreement between top Texas legislators to keep the Texas Racing Commission funded 90 days was finally reached in an ongoing year-long battle. The racing agency reiterated their approval of historical racing machines earlier this month without getting the green light from the Senate Finance Committee. Jane Nelson, the chairwoman of the committee, led efforts among other state Republican senators and called the commission rogue, refusing to grant their budget request of $15.4 million for the upcoming biennium. It remains unclear if funding will continue once the 90 days are up.
A year after being legalized in Austin, ride-sharing apps like Uber and Lyft are being faced with stricter regulations from the city. A proposal heard Wednesday included changes like stricter background checks and $1 per ride tax, a source at Uber calls the highest rider tax in the country. The proposal was met with opposition, a rally by hundreds of Uber drivers and riders with the message, "Keep Austin Uber." Speakers at the rally called the proposal regressive and anti-innovation. But supporters of the proposal say the recommendations are meant to regulate health and safety and level the playing field amongst all the ground transportation systems. The Mobility Committee will make their final recommendation to City Council this October. The average price for a gallon of gas has dropped about $2, making this the lowest Labor Day gas price sale since 2004. Each driver can expect to save an average of $15 at each fill-up. But it doesn't end there. Gas prices have speculated to drop under $2 by the end of Labor Day weekend. These prices are expected to drop even more continuing into the late fall. Still to come, how much are students really spending on course textbooks?
And a new law that will bring your barbers and hairdressers to you.
You're watching KVR News.
You're watching KVR News at 9. Your campus, your news.
There's a new law that went into effect this past Monday that makes it legal for licensed barbers and cosmetologists to work outside of a licensed salon and in other locations when hosting special events, such as weddings and quinceañeras. But also clients. In a landmark decision made in June, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled same-sex marriage as a law of the land, granting same-sex couples the constitutional right to get married in all 50 states.
It was very unfortunate to hear. A lot of people were very concerned, especially in their home state, that was something that was happening, especially when it's the law of the land and everyone should, comply with the law. The other thing is, religious freedom is a great thing, but if if it interferes with your job, then that's an issue.
Shortly after, Attorney General Ken Paxton issued a formal opinion stating clerks held the right to refuse issuing same-sex marriage licenses if it went against their religious beliefs. As a result, Paxton was indicted on felony security fraud charges and appeared in court. Paxton had refused to recognize same-sex couples on birth and death certificates, but agreed to comply with federal law. After a judge discussed the possibility of Paxton being held in contempt of court, Texas is now in full compliance with U.S. law. UT journalism professor Kate Dawson shared how the SCOTUS decision has affected the university's healthcare policy for those in same-sex marriages.
What was a really big deal to me was to have the right to have her on our health insurance, which, UT Select is an excellent form of health insurance. And so it just didn't feel right for the kids and I to be covered and for her to not be covered.
The debate continues on the issue of Texas school financing. 4 years ago, the Texas Supreme Court declared the state's Robin Hood-style funding system for public education unconstitutional. The Texas Supreme Court opened the floor this past Tuesday after the state appealed the decision, declaring schools aren't receiving enough money to achieve higher goals. The Supreme Court has no deadline in its ruling, but expect a response within the next few months.
Now that school is in session, Longhorn students are going to purchase textbooks for their semester courses, but the required material have risen in prices dramatically. According to an annual survey, the College Board, textbooks and supplies in 2000 were an average of $700 for 2015. It is estimated students will spend an average of $1,200 this year on textbooks and supplies. It is a financial burden that some say is challenging to manage.
You might have your previous apartment rent and then a new apartment rent. And so then with textbooks, it's like, well, do I want to buy the book and spend more money and then sell it back and maybe make a little bit of money off of the book? Or do I want to rent it for half price?
If you're looking to pay off that college debt, you could be in luck. Pornhub, the leading adult entertainment website, is giving away $25,000 scholarship to deserving college student. In order to qualify for the Pornhub Care Scholarship, you must have a 3.2 GPA or higher, have enrolled full-time, and be 18 years or older. The scholarship was launched in honor of the site's new fund charity, Pornhub Cares, a nonprofit primarily centered on the millennial community. 2 high school football players from San Antonio have been suspended after tackling a referee. A video of the incident went viral and is under investigation by Northside Independent School District as of now. It's unclear whether the ref has suffered any injuries. NISD Athletic Director Stan Lane said this behavior will not be condoned and they will fully review all sides of the story. With the return of Bluebell ice cream, many rushed to their nearest store to get a taste of the sweet treat. Here is what some Longhorns had to say about the comeback.
I'm excited. I'm happy to get some Dutch chocolate ice cream.
Having had it in so long, I'm excited to try those flavors that I missed.
I really liked it last year because it was so much cheaper than what they have now, which is Ben & Jerry's, I think. Yeah, and they had better flavors.
I'm really excited. I'm gonna get Bluebell and throw myself a little party.
I feel like it came out really well because a lot of people were waiting in line to get a ton of Bluebell. I'm not super skeptical, so I feel like it'll go well.
I can't wait to get myself a big old tub of homemade vanilla.
Now that classes are in full swing, most are hoping for cooler temperatures.
Our Ceci Gonzalez is in the studio with this week's weather. Ceci, what can we expect?
The heat is here to stay for a while, but expect a little taste of fall. Stay tuned.
Have a news tip or story idea? Call the KVR News Tip Line, 475-8181.
Grab your umbrella, but keep the sunscreen handy because this week's going to be hot and stormy. This Labor Day, we saw a high of 98 degrees with clear and sunny skies. Perfect weather for enjoying the 3-day weekend. We start our school week on Tuesday with sunny skies and a high of 98 and a low of 76. Wednesday's weather will be similar, high of 96 and a low of 75. Hot temperatures will peak midday Tuesday and Wednesday, so find some shade and remember to stay hydrated. Don't count on the sun staying out all week long though. There will be a chance of scattered thunderstorms and partly cloudy skies for the rest of the school week. The chance of rain jumps from 20% at the beginning of the week to 50% on Friday. So be sure to take an umbrella and your rain boots. It'll be nice to see some rain after a hot and dry August. The rest of this week's highs will hover around the mid-90s with lows in the 70s. We seem to be heading into some fall temps at the end of the week. Saturday and Sunday highs will be in the 80s. It is not sweater weather quite yet, but it will be cool enough to enjoy some time outdoors. Live in the Weather Center, Ceci Gonzalez, KVR News.
All right, thanks, Ceci.
College Press Box's Matthew Adams will be in the studio to talk Longhorn sports after the break. Stay tuned.
Now, KVR News at 9 Sports.
Welcome back to KVR News. I'm Matthew Adams. Texas and Notre Dame squared off for what many hoped to be a great matchup against two of college football's winningest programs. Despite the hype surrounding the game, the Longhorns choked in South Bend. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from this weekend's game. Opening up, you see Coach Strong and Coach Kelly getting ready for the game. Coming up here, Malik Zaire will find Will Fuller across the middle for the opening score to give the lead to Notre Dame. Later in the first quarter, running back Josh Adams scores to give Notre Dame a 2-touchdown lead, 14-0. Right before halftime, coming up here, Notre Dame is still ahead, and Nick Rose tries to get the horns on the board, but cannot as Notre Dame leads 17-0. Right here, Swoops connects with freshman John Burt for a 48-yard reception and his first as a Longhorn. Later, Nick Rose would get the horns on the board to make the score 17-3. Malik Zaire on the following series finds Will Fuller again for a 66-yard reception, giving the lead 24-3. Again, Josh Adams scores another touchdown, extending the lead 31-3. And of course, Malik Zaire here again finds another receiver, winning the game for Notre Dame 38-3.
Now, I am very optimistic, and I hope that the Longhorns bring some wins back home. So when we do play home, they won't take advantage of the beer and wine that they're now selling at the stadium. Have you heard about that?
That is correct. Earlier in the summer, President Gregory Fenves had approved of beer and alcohol sales for university sporting events. And along with that, new concession stands will be opening up with Torchy's Tacos, I believe, and Austin's Pizza and Pluckers. So yeah, maybe fans will get excited, want to come out and show a little bit more support for the Longhorns as well.
Show some support, get a beer, and eat some wings, right?
Absolutely.
All right, well, thank you so much, Matt. Our Casey Pollock is live in the studio with your entertainment news. Casey, what's on the deck?
Recap of the highs and lows of summer love, Ronda Rousey's life motto, and a Stars company under heat, all after this break.
Now, KVR News at 9 Sports.
Welcome back to KVR News. I'm Alai Ibrahim. Austin City Limits wrapped up its 14th year of production, and surprisingly, it didn't rain. The festival came to a close with a performance by headliner Florence and the Machine Sunday night. Florence made history as the first woman to fill the Sunday night headliner slot. Jake showed his support for the Longhorns on stage when he said he regretted not putting money on the Longhorns after a win against OU. Surprises were a theme among this year's second weekend festivities. Multiple artists brought guests to join them on stage. We saw Run the Jewels bring out Bun B, Drake bring out J. Cole, and Dave Grohl bring out Ben Queller, to name a few. And in case you've missed it, actor Shia LaBeouf was arrested for public intoxication on Friday night. According to Austin police, LaBeouf was arrested near the corner of 6th and San Jacinto around 7:30 p.m. after attempting to cross a "Don't Walk" sign. He was originally arrested for jaywalking. Witnesses say LaBeouf verbally assaulted the judge and downtown officers. A judge will determine whether there is enough evidence to move forward in the case. Comedian Amy Schumer takes on the gun control debate in a fake ad for guns on SNL's latest episode. In the ad, guns played an important role in the big moments of people's lives, followed by the statement, "Guns, we are here to stay." A pregnant woman being wheeled into the delivery room brandishing a rifle, and a couple caressing each other and a pistol while on a date. The issue dominated the entire episode to mock while raising awareness about the debates surrounding gun laws in the U.S.
Thanks for joining us, Alea. I'm Connor Barrick, and thanks for joining us tonight.
And I'm Ceci Gonzalez. For news and weather updates throughout the week, you can follow us on Twitter at KVR News.
Stay tuned for College Press Box up next on Texas Student Television, and have a great night.